What's up, YouTube? This is Juno23 from Team Base. You probably haven't seen that channel or my channel. This is my first video, obviously, but we don't usually get together often the to make videos on the other channel. So I decided that I would make videos for my own pleasure and for your viewing pleasure if you happen to just run across this video and like, oh, I want to learn about Jurracs, or I want to learn about aliens. But like, we don't get together very often anymore because of school, and we've all got our own ish to get through and all that. So I've decided to make my own channel. For the first while, we're going to be discussing just the meta, Jurrac's place in it. It's an okay deck, but I feel like with the right pilot and with the right build, that you can do very well with it, because it does make Logia, it does make Dolka, and those were the cards of last format. So without further ado, I'm going to get into a deck profile and a side deck and extra deck profile as well, just to show the options of the Jurrac deck. And I'll be in a few days, I'll probably put up a discussion video with certain cards that I've tried out in the Jurrac deck, or anything else like that. So for now, let's get into the profile. I run 3 Jurrac Guaiba. He is the main part of the deck. He's why it's so good, or he's why it's playable, really. Just a powerful card. He specials something from the deck after he runs something over. Powerful card. Thank goodness we have it. 3 Velo. This is the engine of the deck before Guaiba starts getting off. He's just a recruiter, but he recruits every single card every single Jurrac, I should say, in the main deck, and that alone is the reason that you should run him. Next up, we have 2 Jurrac Dino. He's our level 3 tuner. If you run something over, you get a draw card. Usually you get off that more often than the Synchroing, because this is more of an Exceed version of the deck. So it really does help out. And some people only run 1 now, but I feel like 2 is the magic number, because sometimes you need a Synchro into a Black Rose or a Giganoto, and you need 1 in the deck. So if you draw 1, then it's not bad. Although they always stick together for me, so I still run 2 though. You need 1 in the deck. Next up, we have 3 Aiolo. We run 3 Aiolo because he's a Monster Reborn, and he's a Rekindling target. We do not run the Flame Veil engine. I don't like the Flame Veil engine, but he is what lets the deck have so much recursion. Good card. And that's the end of the Jurrac lineup. It's about 11 monsters, I believe. That's all you need. You don't need to run Hera. You don't need to run Iguanon. You don't need to run Starrico's not bad. I wouldn't run it though, not in this version. It takes away from what the deck wants to do. Hand traps. We run Gores. Stops OTKs, hopefully. 2 Maxi. He encourages the opponent to not OTK you. I still main deck 2 Maxi and 2 Veiler, because I feel as though this isn't a meta deck, so you need to have that protection against meta decks. you need to be able to say no to something your opponent does, then follow up with a Guaiba, or follow up with a Rekindling. You need to be able to stop your opponent's plays. That's the monster count. It's 16 monsters, but it's really like only 12 because these guys are going to stay in your hand the entire game. And hopefully he doesn't ever come out. If he does, then, well, you might have almost lost. So, yeah. Next up, we have 3 Fossil Digs. I just recently bumped this up to 3 because I got tired of not seeing any Jurracs. It really does help with the consistency. But you can just run 2. Like, running 2 is not bad. It's not a sin. I really feel like once you get the Jurrac engine going, then at least one of these will become dead because of how often you go into your deck, you grab out a Guaiba or an Iolo or a Jurrac Dino, and you just start wrecking face. I've always liked 3, but it becomes dead sometimes. So it really is player preference, and you get to decide. But I like 3 just for consistency. And if you need to make room, then take 1 out. But yeah. Next up, we have a broken card. It's a Rekindling. Some people say, "Oh, you're only running the 3 targets? Why are you running this? You should like bump it down to 2 or 1 even." Well, you get the targets in the grave really fast. And people always say, "Oh, why aren't you running the Flame Veil engine?" Well, I don't like the Flame Veil engine. I really feel like it distracts from the main focus of the deck, which should be making Logias and Dolkas. The Flame Veil engine is good. Like, making a Stardust and making a Logia backed by a Stardust is not a bad play at all. But I really feel like you need the room in the extra deck and in the main deck. So I feel like the Flame Veil engine kind of clogs, and that's why I run that, because it's just broken getting 3 Iolo and then tributing them off and making a Giganoto and then a Logia after you run something over with your Guaiba, or just, whatever. We run 2 Lance and 2 Shrink. The Jurrac Guaiba needs to get over stuff, so that's why you run these. You have to, kind of. I mean, some people don't main deck Shrink anymore, they just main deck 3 Lance. But I feel like when you're going against a Hyperion or a Krista, Shrink will save your life. You should save this for your opponent's like boss monsters, if you can. But if you can't, then use it. It really helps make Guaiba pushes. Like, you can make a Black Rose while a Krista's off the field. Like, you just summon Guaiba, run it over, and then you shrink it, and then you make a Black Rose and you nuke their field. Or you make a Logia and you control them from there, hopefully. Now on to general staples. MST, Book of Moon, 2 MSTs. 1 Book of Moon, 1 Pot of Avarice. You run out of your engine really quickly. So it's a good card to have in the main deck. Some people don't run this card just because they feel like it's dead early, but it's just a setup card. So that happens. Same with Rekindling. It just happens. I mean, it shouldn't stop you from running a good card just because it takes a little bit of time to set up. Heavy Storm is there to go crazy if you can. Dark Hole is when your opponent went crazy but didn't quite kill you. And Reborn is to sack the shit out of someone. When you summon your Guaiba and they're like, "Warning!" and then you're like, "Reborn, attack." Yay. So that's the spells. I don't remember how many spells there are. we have two Compulse. Basically, we run this card because Logia is small, and they your opponent will try and bait out your Logia negate with a monster that can barely get over it. So you just activate your Compulse, just like, no, I'm not gonna negate, I'm gonna bounce you away. And yeah, it's a utility card. It's similar to Book of Moon, where you can disrupt your opponent's plays with it as well. Next up, we have two Torrential. People that run Dino Rabbit don't run this because they feel as though they're always going to have a Logia or Dolka negate. So they don't run this, or they run it at 1, but I think that it's too powerful of a card to not run at 2. And it's at 2 for a reason. I mean, people spam that much, so you should really run it. We run 2 Warning. Sorry for the glary eyes. 2 Warning because a Logia backed by this and like a Judgment will win you the game. So that's why I run them. If you don't like it, you can take out a Warning, or you can take out a Judgment for other stuff. But I really feel like the Solemn Brigade is still as powerful as it used to be. This video is getting kind of long, so I'm going to kind of hurry through the side and extra deck. We run 3 Logia because this is one of the few decks that can go into 3. 2 Dolka because you need to negate stuff. You don't really go into them as much as you go into Logia because it's a slower deck, so you need to have constant Logia pressure on your opponent. But Dolka is a really powerful card. I mean, that's why it was an $80, $100 card. Thank goodness for the tin. We run a My Stroke because My Stroke is better than your stroke. You can do some good Guaiba plays with this guy, so it's okay. Gemknight Pearl. I hated this card. And then I went up, I needed a 15th card, so I put in the Pearl, and I played a 6-Sam guy, and I made the Pearl, and I ran over the Sheehan, and then he was pissed because he had a Phoenix Chain set in the back row. So it's okay, I like it, he's staying forever. So I need to get him shinier, I guess. Utopia, because sometimes your opponent sacks for an Obelisk, and you need to just stall for a bit. Gunman, because once in a while you need to burn and crash with the BLS. Abyss Dweller, he's really good. He slows down Dark Worlds and Atlantean Mermails, or Abyss Mermails, or whatever they're called. So that's why you run him. Onto Synchros, we have 1 Mistworm, sorry for the glare. With Rekindling, you can go into him pretty easily. 2 Giganotos. The reason I run 2 is because you get random OTKs with 2. With 1, it's just a card that you're not going to go into very often. But it deserves a second spot, so just because of the OTK possibilities. 1 Black Rose, because you need to nuke every once in a while. And finally, this should be a Photon Papilloperative. I just switched the deck. I took out Kinkabayo for a 3rd Rekindling. So I used to be able to go into this guy, but now I took out the bio, so this should be a Butterfly. I just haven't had a Butterfly. Leave me alone. Alright, we have 2 Fossil Dinas. This is the side. The 3rd MST, the 3rd Shrink for getting over really big stuff. 2 enemy controllers for getting over big stuff with small butts. Malcat to get past your opponent's back row. 2 Mind Crush. Everything in the meta searches, and if you read a play, then you can stop it. Um, 2 Bottomless because Dino Rabbit hates this card. 2 Goes in Match because Windups hate this card. And 2 Shadow Imprisoning because Dark Worlds and Insectors are decks. So that's the basic deck profile. We can discuss this more. And this is Team Base. This is Juno23 from Team Base. Peace, YouTube.